Welcome to Holiday Let Insider, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the holiday letting industry. Brought to you by Host Planet and Sykes Holiday Cottages, this show is packed with expert insights, real-world strategies, and actionable advice to help you succeed as a holiday let host. I'm James Varley, the founder of Host Planet, and in each episode we'll dive into key topics like property management, guest experience, and revenue growth, and we'll be joined by industry experts who know what it takes to thrive in this sector. In today's episode, Rachel Brennan will be outlining the key things owners must get right from day one. Are you looking to take the hassle out of holiday letting while setting yourself up for success? With Sykes Holiday Cottages, you benefit from working with a team of real people with vast experience and knowledge, all providing a unique service to support you every step of the way. 11-time consecutive winners of the Best Large Company for UK holiday home rentals at the British Travel Awards, Sykes uses industry-leading pricing systems, dedicated account management, and a network of more than 700 booking partners to help get the most out of your investment. Sykes aims to combine trusted experience with local expertise to help make your holiday let a success. Get in touch today to find out more. Head to sykescottages.co.uk/letyourcottage for further details. Hello and welcome to the 5th episode of Holiday Let Insider. Today's special guest is Rachel Brennan, the Senior Manager of Property Onboarding at Sykes Holiday Cottages. How's it going, Rachel?
Good, really good. Thank you. The sun's shining, so that's nice.
It is. It's a bit of a scorcher, isn't it? Okay, then. So today we're going to discuss how to care for your holiday let to ensure that it's a long-term success. So what are the key things that owners need to get right from the outset?
So I think there's a couple of non-negotiables that we've got here. So I think firstly, quality matters. So whatever your budget can cover, I would aim for the best or top standard that you can possibly go for. Customers, guests really notice this. And I think investing in high standard pieces of furniture, linen, can really go a long way and can withstand the test of time. So you're talking about things that are durable, comfortable, things that will photograph beautifully as well, so that your listing looks fantastic. But also not just stylish, but that you are going for longevity and functional. So if you go cheap, I think you can end up paying more in the long run because you're constantly needing to replace it. So I think go for the quality furniture is something that's really, really important. I think second to that is the cleanliness and the maintenance of the property. I think this is probably the most important one. This is what's going to change, one person returning just for the first time to a 5-star review and a return, guest. You've got to go for hotel standard cleanliness here, and it's got to be consistency is key. So the property is exactly the same for every single guest that comes there. And then there's other things like the legal sort of standpoint as well. So making sure that the property is insured correctly, is on the correct mortgage, that you're compliant to all health and safety regulations. So things like a fire risk assessment or a gas safety certificate that you've got. Maybe you've got private water supply, so you're going to need a certificate for that as well. And then also that you're legally permitted to actually holiday let the unit too. There is a couple of locations that do require licensing. So for example, Scotland. So if you put in the research and do your homework from the very beginning, from the onset, you're going to save yourself a lot of stress in the long run. And then lastly, I think a really smart sort of approach for anyone entering the market is to sort of identify what your USP is. So what is your unique selling point? What stands your property apart from others? And this could be that you're family friendly, so that you are great with children. It could be that you're pet friendly, or you're ultra green, so you're eco-conscious, or large parties, or anything like that. Whatever it is, what I would suggest is lean into it. This gives you an edge when it comes to marketing, but also sort of sets you apart, and it'll attract the right customers to you as well.
Yeah, a few things kind of stood out for me there, but Aiming for the hotel quality, I think, is so important. I mean, cleaning is just an absolute non-negotiable. It has to be great for every single guest. They're going to notice straight away if it's not up to standard. Are you a holiday let owner, host, or property manager looking to grow your short-term rental business? If so, join Host Planet and Sykes Holiday Cottages for Holiday Let Success, a free one-day event on the 11th of November at One City Place in Chester, right inside Sykes HQ. You'll hear from industry experts, connect with top suppliers, and walk away with practical strategies to increase bookings, boost revenue, and streamline your operations. Tickets are completely free, but places are limited. Register now at houseplanet.club/events. And also in the linens, the towels in particular, before you mentioned hotel quality, I was thinking this is kind of what you need to go for, because I remember when I set up and I was buying things that were probably lower to mid-range because it was like, oh, get it set up, it'll be okay. But they really don't last. So now top quality stuff because it will last and it just looks and feels better for the guests as well. Okay, so what role does guest communication play in ensuring smooth operations? And what's the best way to encourage guests to be proactive in things? And it might be just straightening things up before they leave a property.
Yeah, so guest communication, I feel like, is the sort of foundation, for a smooth running holiday let unit. I think it really sets the tone for the entire stay. And when I'm talking about guest communication, I'm really thinking about clear, friendly, proactive communication that's throughout their entire, customer journey. So that can be before, during, and after. And when I think about before, I'm thinking things like, a thank you for booking confirmation. We're thinking key collection details that are really precise. We're thinking directions. So as we approach the property, what are some of the landmarks that I should be looking out for? One of my favourite things to put in there is 3 words, so that you can pinpoint exactly where the property is. But how am I actually going to park, when I get there? All of these things that are really important. I recently went to a property down in Devon, coastal property. And one thing that they sort of, I was surprised with when I got there was windbreakers, there was the buckets and spades, there was the deck chairs. I wish I'd have known that those sort of things and the beach towels were actually in the property already. So sometimes even letting people know what you actually offer is fantastic, because God, it'd have saved some room in my car if I'd have known that beforehand. So things like that would have made a huge difference. It was a pleasant surprise. It certainly didn't affect my stay, but it meant that I could have took some other bits with me instead that I maybe had to pull out as secondary. During the stay can be really important as well. So I'm thinking about welcome packs and things when you arrive. So this could be things like the contact details of the local cab services that you've got around there and taxi services. It could be all the top restaurants to go to. What's the price range for those? What contact number should I have to book a table? It could be discounts for local activities as well. Where are the best walks? Where are the best playgrounds for children? Where are the best dog walks or dog-friendly beaches? So that can be really important too. And then also one thing that we do that's really, really important at Sykes is what we call a first night text message that we send to them. And this is just, how did you sleep? How did your first night's sleep go? And this allows customers to flag anything that could have potentially been a possible negative or a complaint in the future, and it gives you time to actually rectify it before the end of the stay. This is a real proactive sort of message that goes out that I think makes the world of difference, and customers feel backed and feel trusted by all of that as well. And then after the stay, so we're talking about on departure day, what should we, how should I leave the property? And of course, collecting that all important feedback as well. When it comes to setting expectations, I think firm but gentle is the best way to approach things. I would definitely include it in that before communication as well as the departure communication as well, because I think about myself on holiday. When it comes to the before communication, I'm very much in planning mode. I'm in organisation mode. I am thinking and preparing. I'm reading everything really carefully. Whereas when it comes to the departure email, I'm still in holiday mode. So I am not really reading anything in full detail. So go with using it in both communications. That's a really good idea. And in those, you want to do things like, where do you want all of the crockery? Do you want it all to be in the dishwasher and left so that you can put it out, knowing that it's clean? Do you want it to be away? Do you want all of your linen to be taken off the beds and in a certain place? Where do they put all of the rubbish and all of the bin bags? Where's that all going to go? And the sort of timings of when they need to vacate the property. So all of these things are really important, but you very much set the standard for when they've arrived. So if when they've arrived, that property is spotless, that's the way that they're going to leave it as well. So you set the standard. You've got to make sure that you're going for that top standard first as well. And when you're with an agency, you're usually backed by, good booking conditions too. So I know in our booking conditions, it's that you leave the property as you found it. Treat it as your own. So you're making those expectations, not just a list of demands, but it's part of the sort of shared experience that you're going with. So I think that's really, really important. So yeah.
So many great tips there. I love the one about sending the message the morning after a guest arrives. I do think that makes a massive difference, because often a guest, they might have something that they're not quite happy with, a little niggle, and they're not going to contact you about it unless you are proactive. And sometimes that issue might get mentioned in the review. And as a host, it can be quite frustrating, because you think, well, if you'd have told me this earlier, I'd have been able to put this right. But that message allows the guest to come back to you and say, oh, look, X, Y, and Z, it'd be better if I had this or whatever it was. So yeah, I think that's a really, really great tip. Talk to us about cleaning and maintenance. How can owners get this right? And how important is it to work with a cleaner who really understands short-term rentals?
So, as I sort of said, cleaning absolutely is the backbone of everything. It's critical, it's crucial that we get this right. We're not just talking about a once over, and I think that's where a lot of owners can go wrong. It's just a quick once over. It's not, it's a thorough clean. So whether you're doing it yourself or you're hiring professionals, it's getting that detailed checklist of exactly what needs doing. It is a good idea to get, sort of help in, but when you are going for professional help, things you need to think about is, if that cleaner is sick, or that cleaner wants to go on holiday themselves, who is then going to cover those? You don't want to get yourself into a tricky, messy situation where you've got a guest coming, but your cleaner's then on holiday. How are you then going to do it? So a real thorough clean checklist, and it's not just a once over, it's a full clean of the property, is something that's vital and important. And then when it comes to maintenance, regular inspections, and checking the appliances during your changeover days, just making sure things like changing light bulbs or the batteries in a remote can be really frustrating for a customer, and can make a huge difference and stop a bigger issue coming out. So just checking that everything's working during that time as well, but then also having a trusted trades people group, whatever it is that you can call on quickly, that are reliable, that you can then sort. And you've got great ways that you can work with sort of a property management company, in that a lot of our owners will set maybe a guide price that they'll go up to for things like, if it was changing the light bulbs or anything like that, they might say, if the job is within £100 or £200, go ahead and do it. I don't need to be contacted. You don't need my approval. Just go ahead and do it, get it done quickly. And then anything over that sort of limit, then they will check first before taking it out. And that can again just help to speedily, correct things. And there's lots to juggle when it comes to property management. So if you're on site and you're looking to do this as more of a hobby, then absolutely, if no one's going to treat that property than yourself. You've poured your heart, your money, into it. Go for it if you're going to get the enjoyment out of it. But if you are a couple of hours away from the property, you've got a full-time job, you've got a family to look after, the last thing you want to do is juggle, customer communications, the cleaning, the maintenance, if suddenly the boiler breaks. So you're going to want to make sure that you've got a reliable supplier there with you. And that's where, again, an agency can help you, in that they will have either in-house providers like ourselves, or again, like ourselves in certain locations, it could be a network of preferred suppliers that have been vetted, that we know that we can trust. And of course, if things aren't quite right, you can always change and get another supplier as well.
When it comes to deep cleaning and maintenance checks, what are the best practices for these areas?
Yeah, so I think when you think of deep cleans, I think for me, it's probably every 1 to 3 months, depending on how busy the property is. And I think you should try to time them before the busy period. So time them before the Easter break, time them before the super peak of the summer holidays, and straight after as well, because that's the time when your property is being used the most. When I talk about deep cleans, we know that the property is getting thoroughly cleaned on every changeover, because we know that that's vital. This is where I'm talking about cleaning the carpets, ensuring the windows, the gardens pristine, inside the actual appliances itself rather than just on the outside. So it's going above and beyond the sort of usual clean that we've got there. And then when it comes to the sort of maintenance, again, a monthly inspection of just checking everything and ticking it off and keeping a log of the small repairs that you've been doing, but also using your reviews as a bit of a blind spot too of anything that could have been missed is really, really important, and that you respond to those really quickly. And then I would say have a sort of annual, where you block the property off maybe for a week or two during the off-peak season. Maybe it's a November, January sort of time, or during December, just not your Christmas and New Year week, that you can get to the property to maybe refresh some of the paintwork, and maybe you want to refresh some of the decor, the furniture, the linen. All of these things can really sort of help, and it's a full refresh for the next year. And it just regular and consistent cleaning and inspection of maintenance can just ensure that there's no costly surprises in the future.
You mentioned reviews there, and we all get a bad one now and again, whether it's deserved or not. What advice do you have for owners on how to respond to negative reviews?
I think firstly, don't take it personal, I think is the biggest one. And before you ever respond, to a guest review that could be negative, is take a deep breath before you go and respond. The next customer will be judging your response just as much as they were judging the review itself. So it's be calm, don't be reactive, don't be aggressive in it, don't be, sort of combative, towards it. It's just taking a really professional and calm, neutral approach to it. So thank that guest for providing that feedback. Thank them for sharing those views. And if it is warranted, if it's a valid claim, then absolutely own it. Apologise for it, hold your hands up, and explain exactly the path you've taken to actually resolve that. So we're really sorry that the heating, the boiler was broken when you were there. Since then, we've had it inspected and it's fully working. So it's letting guests know that was an issue here. We're really sorry, but we've rectified that. And if you're feeling that the review maybe is inaccurate or invalid, then again, it's just explaining your point of view in a really professional, calm way. Because as I said, they are judging both of them, and treat it like a business. So don't take everything personal. Every property is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And I always think that even the one or two, what you would class as negative reviews, can actually make your property look a bit more trustworthy than a glowing 5-star review all the time. Because sometimes if I see just 5 out of 5 constantly, I'm thinking, there's got to be something wrong here. You want to add trust, you want to add validity to it. So you want to make sure that you do show the good and the bad, and the proactive, work that you've done to make things right. So it is absolutely not the end of the world. For every bad one, you'll get 20 good ones. So don't worry and don't take it personal.
Yeah, that's interesting what you say there about trusting a 4.7 over one that's 5 across the board a little bit more. So for new owners who might feel
we do get those properties that are all 5-star. We do get them. They are the golden properties. We do get them.
I know exactly what you mean though. So for new owners who might feel a bit overwhelmed just by the challenges of everything involved in holiday letting, how can they avoid burnout and keep a positive outlook throughout the process?
So it's normal to feel overwhelming, I think, is the first thing to sort of consider here. That is, it's total, normal to feel that way. It's part of the journey. There is an awful lot of things to juggle when you're first setting out. There's the guest communications, your pricing, your availability, your calendars, your marketing, the cleaning, maintenance. There is a lot. So I would say outsource what you need to. So if you're on site and you want to do the cleaning, think about then getting booking a marketing agent that can take care of all the rest for you. So, or if you are, as I said, miles away from the property, think about hiring in the professional help and the professional team to sort the property maintenance and management for you. So outsource what you can. Again, treat it like a business from day one. It's not a sort of personal project, it's a business at the end of it. Particularly when it comes to things like price points, people can go, well, I think my property's worth more, than that price. But then when you look that you're getting a slightly lower price, but get 2 in that 1 week, you walk away with more money. Then it starts to come more like a business and not, as I said, a personal venture. And exactly the same when it comes to the review. So if you do get one of those sort of bad reviews, again, that's not your personal worth or the property. That was just one review in there. So I just think take it day by day. Take a break whenever you need to take a break as well. Even if you are wanting to do all the maintenance and cleaning yourself, you sometimes will need a holiday too. So whether it is to the property itself or to maybe it's another property that's with that agency, take a break for yourself too. Protect your own health and mental state. Through it all. But you couldn't get ad hoc cleans too. So it doesn't mean that you have to shut down shop, and it doesn't mean you have to close the business when you go off. You could always get an ad hoc clean from if you've got a company that have got lots of supplier networks. You could do that as well. So don't go it alone. Outsource what you need to outsource and treat it like a business, not a personal project, and treat it with a business mindset.
I'm sure there'll be people out there thinking, I love my holiday let, but I want to have a bit more free time. So if they're thinking of working with a holiday letting agency like Sykes, what should they be looking for when they're having those conversations and doing their research?
So I think you've got to choose a company that works for you. So don't just go with the brand, go with a company that ticks all the boxes and gives the services and has the morals and all of the ethics that suit you. I think transparency is everything. So know exactly what services are being offered, what they're going to cover. A good agency should build a package to suit your needs. So it should be a bespoke package for you that's going to cover everything. There shouldn't be any hidden costs. You should know exactly what you've got to pay at all times. And it should feel more like a partnership rather than just a transaction. Don't just take that company's word for it. Reputation is everything. So look at other reviews, look at what other owners are saying about those, look at some of the awards that they have received from both customers and owners. The customer service that they give is going to be everything, because that's the customer service that your guests are going to be receiving. So have a little look how that all works. How are they going to be treated? What tools do they have? Take a little look at what the listing itself looks like. So how is your property going to be marketed? Do you need to juggle lots of sites, or are they going to do everything for you? Will they do all the photography? Will they help you to stage it? What guides have they got for you? So one of the things that I love to give out to owners, on that very first visit, we have a beautiful pack that has sort of got a checklist of every single room of what you need to take, and it's got lots of hints and tips on there. So having your 3, sets of bed linen, so one that's in the cupboard and ready to go on, one that's in the wash and one that's on the bed itself. All of these little tips, making sure that your kitchen's well equipped. So you've got the pizza cutter, you've got the egg cups, you've got everything. So it's a checklist that you can go through of all of these. If you've got a hot tub, maybe having a hot water tap installed outside next to the hot tub is going to make that sort of refilling of water much quicker and much faster. So that's a really good one. So make sure that they've got guides that can support you along the way, so that you can just check everything off, and then they'll have cleaning guides and checklists too to help you with everything. And then lastly, I think for me is that, as I said, you're happy with the way that the property is going to look, you're happy with the services, you're happy with the customer services, and an account manager that cares. I think that's the big important thing. I think one of the reasons I've been with Sykes for a long time, so I've been with them, so I'm just over 11 years now, and we live and breathe property. It is very much in our blood. We absolutely, love properties, love holidays, love making memories for people. And you want to be with a company that cares just as much about it as you do. So that's an important piece. And with ourselves, you'll get a dedicated account manager that will get to know you, get to know your property. So it is about getting you and your property to succeed, and they care about it just as much as you do. So that's some of my tips.
Superb. And if people are interested in learning more about working with Sykes, where should they go?
So they can go to our website, so that's www.sykescottages.co.uk. They can go to the Let Your Property side of it, but also just give one of my team a call. So I've got a team of holiday let advisors that you'll be given a dedicated onboarding advisor that can help you from whether you are purchasing your first holiday home or you don't know where to invest in locations, whether you're completely new to it or whether maybe you're switching from a competing agency. So go onto the website, do our inquiry form, or just quickly give us a call. So 01244 345 700.
Fantastic. And we'll put all those details in the show notes. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us on the latest episode of Holiday Let Insider.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great to chat to Rachel Brennan there from Sykes Holiday Cottages. Remember, if you want extra exposure and repeat bookings from a trusted brand, Sykes is a superb option. Head to sykescottages.co.uk/letyourcottage to get in touch with their team. All right, that's it for today's episode. For more free education, tips and trends from the short-term rentals industry, visit houseplanet.club, where you can sign up for our newsletter, listen to our podcasts, and download a suite of ebooks for hosts and property managers. That's it for today's edition of Holiday Let Insider. Until next time, happy hosting.